Here you've got a prime example of how not to cut a Hazel stool. Bear in mind, we're underneath the power lines, so this may have been done in a rush by contractors. All of these, you can see where they've been taken off, you know, between knee and waist height. And all those bits have started to rot back. And then here's a nice bit to show you. Well, you can see here, you've got healthy growth coming from around the outside and the middle rotting out. So these should have been taken down as low as you can go with nice angled cuts outwards. Anyhow, I'm hoping I can get a few binders for some hedge laying off this. Take them down as low as we can in the process. So we got a reasonable amount of binders out of it. They're not the greatest, they're a bit too thick really. A little bit of kindling. And now all I need to do, I'll get a bit more firewood obviously out of it, kindling out of it, is come back and take those out properly flush down at the bottom. And I had a mooch down that ride where those power lines go, and there were a couple more and they've all been done like this, so probably try and do the whole lot at the same time, take them down to the base and then put some wire rings around them. And we're only doing a handful. Put some wire rings around them to keep the hairs and the muntjac and the roe off them for the next couple of years. But yeah, there we are. 26th of April. These were the last hazels that we did a few weeks ago. I banked up soil around a couple of them, and I might put rings around a couple of them. But these ones are right under the power lines, and they've been abused so much, I'm not sure they're even really worth spending any time or energy on. That one's going to get a ring. That one's going to get a ring. And this one has already got a ring, just needs staking down. See although that was done a couple of weeks ago, you can still see the sap leaking out of there. That will soon break away from the outside. These two have been done. A little bit of logs to collect. And these were the ones that were done first. I've really only just come down to collect all that lot. But yeah, you can see these are already, where am I looking? They're starting to break. I don't know if you can see. There were buds starting to break from the outside as well. Let's have a look at this one. They're coming, actually spreading around the outside. Yeah, so that's starting to break away. Anyhow, gives these a chance. You could clearly not do this on a big scale, it wouldn't be affordable, but these stakes cost a few pence each. They're pallet dividers, and these rings are reusable, so once these have had a few years of protection, we'll rotate them onto other ones and just keep doing it. Anyhow, a bit of Hazel Coppice restoration. So it is mid-February, a year later, and these were these rather unhappy hazels that had been pollarded at sort of waist height under the power lines. Now whether they've been done that to try and keep the new growth away from deer, or whether it had been done by contractors, power line contractors, as a rush job, I don't know. But these brambles, this brambly area is a favourite for muntjac. I literally just spooked one out of here when I walked in. So these have to be protected. But as you can see, I mean, the growth on these since they've been protected is fantastic. This was a bit of a weedy little stool. And even there, it's grown away all right. Slightly weaker on that one, but these three have absolutely romped away. They're probably, I don't know, 7.5 foot, maybe even 8 foot on some of that. The odd little bit has grown through the wire, but for the most part it's in the wire. Now you will get some of this, which is not ideal, but it's better than the deer damage. In an ideal world, you put a huge great ring or fence the whole lot, but this is a relatively, I mean, you can't do this on a large scale clearly, but this is a relatively cheap way of doing it, in that, you know, when we come to deal with these, they can either be reused, or in the meantime I can undo that ring and use it elsewhere. These stakes I got from somebody who makes fencing, and they're offcut, so they're a few pence each for the stakes. They won't last forever, but they'll do the job for the time that needs being. This neck slot through here, they've done similarly well. I would really have liked to have got in and pollarded some of these field maples, but again, these slightly less light in here, but here you can see, you know, these have done really well as well. I mean, these without protection, I can't tell you, these would have been absolutely hammered by the deer. You know, you get roe rubbing on them, you get roe browsing on them, you get muntjac browsing on them. I mean, we control the deer here, but there's a lot of them. And then these ones down here were, to be honest, in such bad condition. I'm only really showing you them to see if there was any regrowth that the deer might have browsed on. Yeah, look, this is a decent thing to show you. So these were in bad condition, so they're not a fair comparison. But look here, the minimal amount of growth on this has been browsed off, and that'll be hares, that'll be muntjac, that'll be roe. Again, you can see here, maybe I should have protected these, but I just decided that they were so rotty that it wasn't really worth it. And then this is another one that I protected, and again, you can see the difference. Okay, it was a healthier stool, but with protection, you know, again, probably slightly less on that, but still 6.5, 7 foot of regrowth. So there you go, bit of restoration on some hazel, and what you get after a year of protection.